Hit record.
Go ahead. We are live. I was gonna make some comment about the whole thing about like, if his dick is that good, like it's rude of someone to try and keep it all to herself. But but I'm poly. I think everyone should be poly. I hate love triangles.
We were talking about Hannah Montana.
We're talking about Hannah Montana. We're just editing that moment out. Don't worry about it. Anyway, all right, hold on. Let us find the Zen. Let us meditate like Grogu. Hello and welcome to this episode of Star Wars Generations podcast. We have just watched the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And by that, I mean, we were in the theater 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
We got out of the theater. We went and had some drinks. We talked about it with some awesome fans who drove down to Minneapolis to see it with us. If you're a fan and you're anywhere in the Minneapolis area and you ever want to like watch Star Wars with us, like let us know. But here we are. We are down. It is 12:30, and so my brain's a little scrambled. Erin's had like 5 drinks, and so her brain's a little scandaled.
Stop.
She's had like 2.5. It
was
a big
3.
deal. Yeah, whatever. She found out I was paying and kept ordering more. But
that's
anyway,
not true.
The point being, here we are. The Mando and Grogu movie is here. We watched it. If you've not watched it yet, of course, all the spoilers are coming. So go check it out. If you want to watch it.
Watch it. It's great. It's a fun adventure. And Matthew has other opinions, but I think it's a wonderful adventure.
I'll say I had some fun. There were definitely some moments I really enjoyed. But Erin, you go first. What'd you love about this movie?
I thought it was so fun. So much of it was like Clone Wars nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
Every scene involving Embo, like they did so good. Embo's one of my favorite niche bounty hunters from the Clone Wars, and he was so menacing in this. They kept the mystere. I'm glad they didn't have him speak any basic because he never has before.
Yep.
I loved how his wolf, his dog, was so much a part of it. Because that's, to me, they are inseparable in my mind. I have not Googled what the dog's name is, but I will by the next time we record. But yeah, I loved it. I thought there was just a lot of like fun Easter eggs throughout the film, kind of referencing back to previous Star Wars, but also just previous media in general that had kind of similar like mob adventure vibes. So I thought it was a lot of fun. It's certainly not like, oh my God, Star Wars is back with the earth-shattering, canon-changing, like, da-da-da, like, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was really fun for me.
Yeah, I think that is all perfectly valid. And I think this, what, like a lot of people wondered, is this just going to be 3 episodes strung together and put onto a big screen? And I think the answer to that is 100% yes. That is exactly what this was. I even joked about it with my wife who also went. She was like, well, I didn't really like the first movie, but I loved the second movie, and I thought the third movie was okay. Because it is really 3 distinct parts. And there was a point about, I guess this is like between the first and second movies, but I would have called it closer to a halfway point, where all of the plot has been resolved, and there's another hour and a half of movie left. And I had no idea what was going to happen because, like, there was no clue about what the overall plot was going to be for the rest of the movie.
Wait, what moment are you talking about?
After they have gotten Admiral Coin back to the Rebels, and
Rada's back with them.
And that's the Rebels, the New Republic. Yeah, Rada's back with them. Everything's been taken care of. There's no loose strings. And Mando and Grogu just go off to chill for a bit. And I thought then we were going to get a movie about like what the New Republic was going to do with Admiral Coin and get a lot more New Republic. Instead, we just got the Hutts wanting revenge. And then I think that's where I kind of am landing on this overall movie, is that for me, if this was 3 episodes of the show, awesome. Not my 3 favorite episodes by any means, but a lot of cute moments with Grogu, a lot of fun moments. There's no real character development of either Mando or Grogu, but you don't have to grow in every episode. But as a movie, I think it's just where it for me, it was lacking of like, I think I am still in that place of, if it's a Star Wars movie, I want something more.
I understand where you're coming from for sure. And I agree there wasn't necessarily huge beats for these characters emotionally. But I do think that there definitely was some growth that happened, especially Especially I feel like with Grogu because
Mm-hmm.
he is such a dependent throughout the entire series. You know, he can help here and there, but for the most
Yeah.
part, he's a dependent. And he still is throughout this movie for the most part. But we see him make a very conscious choice to go against what his, you know, quote unquote father is asking him to do, which is to leave with the what is it?
And Zellens.
Anzellans, thank you, to leave with them. And Grogu chooses to stay behind and, you know, care for Mando instead when Mando thinks slash knows he's going to die. And I thought that was nice to see Grogu on his own and see what he would do, seeing that there's like this loyalty to him
Mm-hmm.
because like it is still a toddler. Like we're still talking about a toddler. I just answered a nursing question today in my practice for my boards exam that was talking about when humans develop the ability to trust, and it's during the toddler years
Yeah.
before you turn 6. And so very much I feel like this is so formative, assuming I can apply some human psychology onto Grogu's species. This is so formative for him to understand that it's like, yeah, he really showed up with a half-baked plan, like a toddler ass plan. He's like,
Right.
"Look, Dad, I got here. I got you out." And Dad's like, "Hey, I don't fit in the fucking ship because it's made for
Yeah.
people who are 1 feet tall."
You
Like,
got a little red wagon to drag me home. That's not going to work.
yeah, like thanks, but no, like this isn't going
Yeah.
to work. And I loved seeing Grogu kind of like, I don't know. I like a little Zen moment. There was a
Mm-hmm.
Visions episode that we watched. I know that was kind of in parts or episodes, and there were some certain parts that you guys didn't jive with that I really jived with, and I feel like that might be what's happening here as well, as maybe the
Yeah.
more like quiet, like storytelling beats that are very subtle. Maybe I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that, and it's like your wife said. I think she said her favorite was the second episode, aka you know the
Right.
period when Grogu is kind of caring for Mando. um, and so I'd love to see these characters again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be best to go back to short show format if they're willing
Yeah.
to. Because I think there's a lot more that you can do with these characters. I think it'd be really cool to see them in the future because we know we're getting more in this time period, especially with the Ahsoka show.
Right.
And we know that Mando is even more now tied to the New Republic. Like, is it too much to hope for a New Republic era Avengers Star Wars movie? Like, is it too much to want Boba Fett and Fennec Shand and Mando and Grogu and
Get
Ahsoka
the whole
and
gang
Ezra
together.
and Zeb and everybody? Like, is it too much? I don't know. Maybe the cartoon loving child in me is asking for too much, but I love it. Even though it was lighthearted, it wasn't very deep.
I mean, you're not the only one. We actually had a comment from, so glad others are up this time of night and are watching with us. SF Maldwin wrote in and said that they thought it was entertaining, but they were hoping for Fennec or Boba Fett to show up. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I definitely get that about wanting to see more of the, more of that part of the world, more of those kind of characters show up. I think that would have been really fun.
Yeah.
And going back to the character development thing, I think actually you're right. That was some good development for Mr. Grogu. And don't get me wrong, I liked that. I did think
Yeah.
it was very well done. I thought the whole thing of him like building the shelter, and making it work, and the whole thing of him like suddenly we ran into the hillbilly alien where I was like, really, like, why doesn't this man have a banjo? But who Grogu was stealing fish from, and like I didn't love that part, but this whole idea, and then like the little bit of humor with Grogu like trying to get him into the shelter, but him banging his head out, like that was hilarious. Loved that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think part of the thing with the character development is for me, so like yes, Grogu had some growth. It felt kind of like Mando went backwards in this I really want to say in this episode, in this movie,
Yeah.
because when he starts out, he's very much the I'm not judging you. I'm not judging whether or not you should have a bounty on your head, but you do have a bounty on your head, and I'm going to take you in warm or I'm going to take you in cold.
Mm-hmm.
And Grogu is the one who starts to change that for him, in that he has a bounty on Grogu, but he won't turn him over. When he does, he goes back and rescues him. And by the end of the last season, you really feel like Mando has kind of changed in that regard.
Yeah.
And so to now have this thing where he's asked to go rescue this kid who's really, I mean, he's like 19. Like, I mean, well, I have no idea what Hutt's age at, but it feels like he's an adult. He's just like a young adult. He's like,
Yeah.
That's
the impression I got as well. Yeah.
Yeah, like he can vote and pay taxes, but he's his early 20s or something like that.
So me.
Yeah, I was not going to say it, but yes. But we find out he doesn't want to be rescued. He doesn't want to go back. He actually doesn't like his aunt and uncle, and they may have some really nefarious reasons for wanting him to be brought back to them. And Mandu's like, "Sorry, man, I can't. You're the bounty. I've got to take it in."
Mm-hmm.
That made no sense to me. And I was expecting him to have some moment of like, "No, you're right. I should rescue you. I should let you do your own thing."
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of gets there, but what actually happens is that Rada says, "Well, wait, actually, you don't need the huts. I can help you achieve your goal." And Mando's like, "Okay, we can do that."
Mm-hmm.
But that's still about the goal of the Republic who is working for. It's not about, "Hey, I shouldn't actually be taking you prisoner because this is fucked up." And
yeah,
that just felt really backwards for Mando's development to me.
I definitely see where you're coming from. Kind of my way to read or understand that and kind of make it make sense for my brain would be like, Mando has very much changed. He's not just about warm or cold. He's not just about bounties anymore. Like Grogu changed so much for him. But it also changed the fact that like now to him, like working for the New Republic, doing things to better that cause is what feels right. He's really dragging his feet to work for the Hutts. He does not want to work for the Hutts.
Yeah.
And when Rada says, or Rhoda, I already forgot how they pronounced it in the movie, but when Jabba's son says like, "Oh, well, you work for the Hutts." Mando's like, "Oh, fuck you. No, I don't. I work for the New Republic, actually, and they asked me to come here." So, like, I feel like he's kind of just like having this moment of being forced to do something he feels like he's grown past.
Right.
And so he maybe gets stuck in it for a second. But
Yeah.
I do agree that by the time we hit Rada's second, "I'm not my dad, guys. I'm different.
Oh,
I
God.
don't want to rule the world." I was like, I can't believe this is happening in a motion picture. Like this, I'm geeked. Like this is hilarious to me that this Hutt is for the second time talking about how he's more than just his mob father. And like that that was cheesy to me to an extent.
Having a 10-foot long slug with, as you put it, 19 abs or more repeatedly say, "I want to be my own man." I was just like, come on, writers. Like, I want to be my own Hutt. I want to be my own person. I want to be my own sentient being. Like,
I want to make my own legacy, like anything. No, I want to be my own man.
I am not a man. I'm a non-binary person, but I understand that many people will look at me and think, "Man, Rod is a 10-foot long slug." He doesn't have legs. He sort of has arms, and they hold axes, and they're good. But when he fights his uncle, they roll around on top of each other because they're both slugs. Neither one of them is a man. And I don't mean that in any like emasculating way. They might be the most like masculine-esque of their species. I don't know about gender roles among the Hutts, but
I also don't. Yeah.
to me, a man is the male version of a human, and he ain't no human.
Yeah. I feel like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I love Jeremy Allen White. I thought he did a perfectly good job voice acting a character that sounded nothing like the character we got on screen. Like it just
Like sounded nothing like it fit in the body that we got on screen. Is that what I mean?
Like I already talked last week about like how having Hutts speak in Basic or in English didn't really work for me.
Mm-hmm.
But did that? It was like he sounded like Jeremy Allen White with some like voice modulation. He sounded like, "I'm having a hard time at the restaurant, guys. I'm not sure." Like it was just this like I wasn't ready for an emo Hutt.
It's not a phase, Dad. I want to be a fighter. I can make my own way. I got sponsorships now.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm picturing Rada smoking a doobie, and that's just like it's too far gone.
He would. He had personal droids just to massage his muscles.
I mean, you're a fighter, I had someone to help massage me after rugby games.
Yeah.
You get stiff.
I also, though, if we can take a second to look at Rada as a slightly more serious character, there's a lot to be said for being born into something and told you're supposed to be something.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately falling into the manipulation in the hands of someone else who is just exploiting you for something and
Yeah.
thinking that that's your power and that's what makes you who you are. And then seeing like, oh, no, he actually was going to kill me on my last day of my contract. Like this, there was no getting out for me. And I really thought I had these fans, and these fans are now chanting, kill him, kill him, kill him. And that's crazy. I feel like they could have taken, I don't know. I feel like the character could have been more serious. There could have been more important beats, because
Yeah.
that is a very like interesting concept. It's almost similar to Anakin, you know, like
Mhm.
being raised so one way and that this is your destiny, this is your priority, and having someone tell you, "Hey, these people are mistreating you and they're telling you to do one thing. How about you do my thing?" And
Right.
it's such a real concept in the world of like grooming and manipulating young adults, and especially people like who are quote unquote nepo babies, you know,
Right.
who have something to offer. But I think it's really hard to make a 10 to 12-foot slug serious as a character at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think especially when it is already a story about a father and a son in an
Mhm.
adopted way, but there's definitely that's the relationship between Mando and Grogu. And yeah, like I like the Huts. I think the Huts work as a fun underworld thing, but I think they kind of work if they're more off screen. You know, I think if
Mhm.
this had been, um, imagine if he was a Pike. You know, if he was a
Yeah.
Pike and the son of one of the Pike leaders, or someone from one of the other criminal things. You know, or
Margren's son, yeah.
yeah, like I commented like maybe he was a Twilight dancer for the Huts or something. You still want to keep the Hut thing, and like then maybe he could be a she, and we would have. I said at one point like that would increase the number of women who speak in this movie by 100%.
Yeah.
I was wrong because the female twin is female. So you have two named women who speak in this movie. Although the name of the female twin is never mentioned in the movie, it's just been mentioned in other properties.
Mhm.
They never come in the same room with each other, so Bechtel has to be gone. But
Yeah,
but
failed.
putting it aside, like yeah, I the lack of women characters in this was pretty stark, and I don't think that that character had to be a woman, but I think what you just named is a really great story beat, and it was here, but I think having it be a Hut wound up being more of a distraction from that.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. And like you said, Huts are maybe better off screen. They're better as a menacing, like, oh, all these bounty hunters work for the Huts. All this is under the control of the Huts, but you don't see the Hut very often.
Yeah.
I think that's carries a lot more menace and weight to it. And honestly, part of me is left kind of bummed out. Like, is all we have left of the Huts Rada? Like, are there more? Like, is the Hut clan gone? Not that I'm like, go underworld, you know, but
Mhm.
like that's such like Jabba the Hutt was one of the original bad guys in Star Wars, like the
Yeah.
original Slimesters, you know, and it feels like killing the twins, if they were the ones running the Hutt cartel and they wanted Rada gone because he was the true heir and Rada just killed them and he does not want to continue the Hutt cartel, who does? Are
Yeah.
there more Huts we don't know about? Is this just one faction? Like, because I hate to think that, like, as much as I love Rod of the Hutt joining the New Republic, and that's so
Mhm.
sick and that's so fun, I'd be really bummed to see like the entire hundreds of years of the Huts having this, vice grip on the underworld. I would hate to see that just gone,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. No, I definitely think you're right, and I it's hard to know because certainly in a lot of the Legends canon, they established there were these numerous Hutt clans.
Mhm.
Some of them were not on Nal Hutta, they were scattered all over the galaxy.
Yeah.
You know, Jabba wasn't even anywhere close to Nal Hutta, he was on
Mhm.
Tatooine. And, I think we've certainly seen other Hutt clans, you know, in the Clone Wars episodes where we got introduced to Zero the Hutt and Cy Snoodles, femme fatale of the, Star Wars universe for all time.
Yep.
Um, you know, we got introduced there's this whole, like, ruling council of the Hutts. So I think there's gotta be other Hutts out there. They wouldn't just, like, make this race extinct, by any means, you know, have it be that few.
Yeah.
SF Maldwin again points out a slug with a super buff body was a wee bit much, but it was sad when Rada realized the fans weren't cheering for him, only the violence. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's true.
That was That was sad. I'm seeing this movie again tomorrow, and I'm very excited to watch it again and see what I
Mhm.
catch when we talk about it, more in depth.
Yeah.
Um, but I did love a little cosplay fact about me. My first original character, I think my only original character still actually is a Twi'lek who works for the Hutt cartel, and I
Mhm.
specifically looked up their insignia and I painted it onto some of her armor. And Rada has that tattooed on the back of his neck, and I was just like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, Hutt cartel symbol mentioned!" like,
And, like, that's a great story beat. Like, 'cause I'd like to know, like, did he have that done before he went off on his own, or did he
yeah,
have that done as a, like, "I'm my own Hut, but I'm still a Hut," like, that
yeah.
is an interesting story beat that I would love to hear.
Totally. There's a lot of cool stuff you could do with that character, but it is hard to have a main character be so a quote unquote more main character, be so alien and inhuman.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I
It's
think
just
that'll be interesting. Like, he's not at anthropomorphic, and I think that's kinda
yeah.
cool.
And I do wonder something we talked about cuz like Matthew mentioned at the start, we saw this with some fans. Hi Beth and Chad, you guys are the best. They give me a graduation gift. So cute. But we were talking with them. And Beth had said how much she just loves the animation and feels like that's what really like
Yeah,
speaks to her. And I think that this movie may have worked better in animation just for the Rot of the Hut stuff.
yeah.
Like I think that that character could have been better received perhaps
Mhm.
if it wasn't live action because it's harder to like, okay, how do we take these huts and now give them emotional beats? What are the facial expressions going to be? The this, the that. And I
Right.
feel like it might have been easier to flesh out in animation. But I'm so happy with the movie that we got. Like I've said a
Yeah.
million times, I'm easy to please. Like if it's Star Wars, it's on a screen. I'm hype.
Yeah. No, and there's nothing wrong with that. And
Yeah.
I have had bad experiences at Star Wars movies. I did
Mhm.
not enjoy Attack of the Clones. I did not enjoy uh Rise of Skywalker. I I had a fine time at this. It just I I think for me especially because we've had so much discussion of what is the New Republic doing during this time.
Mhm.
And we were supposed to get a whole movie about, a squadron of X-wings that I think, that the characters we saw as part of Blue Squadron were maybe going to be a part of, and we were supposed to get all this different stuff. And we've had some buildup through the Mandalorian show of all of what the Empire was doing, or the Imperial remnants, and with Moff Gideon taking a lead. I really want to know, like, what is going on now that Moff Gideon's gone? What is Admiral Coin up to? And
Mhm.
and so I'm curious if you had the same feeling, like, when we got to that point where they brought Admiral Coin in, like, halfway through the movie,
Mhm.
and I really thought the movie was now gonna pivot to being about, "Okay, we've learned the stuff we have to from Coin. We're now gonna go off on a mission to, take care of this, and we want you, Mando, to join us." And it gets
Mhm.
to be, and maybe even, Rada joins as well, because he gets for Mando to be his moment of, like, yeah, you know what? I am wanting to get more involved with the New Republic, and I am wanting,
Mhm.
and maybe even he's just kind of like being used as a spy or something. He very Han Solo's, like, only joins the fight at the last minute. But did you have that sense that might be where the movie was going?
I actually didn't
Okay.
personally. We had hit halfway point. I was like, it's gonna be too complicated to bring up Thrawn. It's gonna be too complicated to bring up like anything relating to the Ahsoka show. And I felt like I don't know, I felt like since they didn't touch on it more ahead of time, it was unlikely that they delve into something so big in the second half of a film. But that being said, there's nothing to say that we'll get season 2 of Ahsoka, and right when Coin gets back, Sigourney Weaver pops into season 2 of Ahsoka, and they go.
Yeah, that's certainly
And then
possible.
halfway through season 2 of Ahsoka, Rada the Hutt joins and Mando joins because they just got back from their bullshit on Nalhutta.
Yeah,
There's nothing to say that Admiral Coin, not Admiral, I don't know why I assigned him something. This Coin motherfucker.
yeah.
There's nothing
I
to
was
say.
calling him Admiral, but you're right. I might be wrong about that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what he
Yeah,
used to be. But there's nothing to say that this isn't huge in the New Republic in the future. It's just not the story that was told around these characters.
yeah. No, that's certainly true. And
But I can
as
oh,
I've talked about at length in the MCU, I think the movies that came before Ultron showed the problem when you're trying to tell a small story, but also trying to shove in there things to set up the upcoming big movie. And while I think I would have liked to see more of the stuff that's going to lead us into Ahsoka, I think it also could have really hurt the movie if that felt kind of like tacked on.
Yeah, it's hard with a movie like this, I feel like, to balance, the vibes of like fan service and like
Hmm.
furthering the overall story for people who just liked the TV show,
Yeah,
just want to watch them have adventures, Because I think that's also probably something that the filmmakers were really battling with was like these characters are so excuse me. These characters are so established in what they do and this is the vibe we have them in. How would we even introduce them into a bigger rebellion picture?
yeah, yeah.
Because, yeah, like where do they stand? What does a 3-year-old tiny green alien do within the greater New Republic?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out eventually. But I definitely the movie kind of ended and I was like, oh, like we got nothing. Like the
Yeah.
things we talked about in the primer, we got
Yeah.
none of those things. But I was okay with it. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm
That's
always
fair.
easy to please. I think it was very fun, but it certainly did not have like the Easter eggs or the sparks that we were looking for leading into newer projects.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I would have loved to see that. I would have also not minded a few more. I'm always kind of curious about the phrase Easter eggs. Like I like callbacks. I like things that recognize,
Mhm.
drop a mention of, hey, this connects to something that some of you have seen before. And you don't have to like interrupt the plot in a way that everyone else would be confused by. But for example, when Rada was, saved from falling into the water with that huge snake thing, which, oh my God, this movie really overdid the like angry
It went
animals.
crazy on the monsters, and I
Like,
know you don't love a monster movie, so I was
I,
worried.
I don't love a monster movie, but I especially don't love a like, hey, these are just like non sentient like
Yeah.
animals, and we're just slaughtering them. Like Grogu killed a mouse and like they killed a bird just for like a laugh moment. And I was like, I don't need that. But putting that even aside, so Rada has this moment where he's saved clearly by the Force, and I you don't have to tell the whole story of the movie where he shows up as like a little kid, but like I wanted some moment of him having a memory of or him just being like, oh, you must be a Force, you're a Jedi or something, like
Yeah.
something to connect that to like Ahsoka and Anakin and Yoda, like all being having to help rescue him when he was a kid.
Or even just like, "Oh, what the fuck did you just do, you
Yeah,
tiny green little frog? I thought you were a pet." Like,
yeah, that because maybe he was a baby and doesn't remember that. He would just be freaked out by it.
yeah, there was no recognition. Like, Mando was like, "Go," and Rada and Grogu were like, "Here we go."
Yeah,
And I was like, "You're not gonna take a beat to recognize that, like, the tiny guy, like, just saved your okay.
yeah,
You're huge, dude. You know how much effort that much
he's
whatever."
big. He's big. All those abs, they weigh a lot.
All those abs. Yeah, for anyone wondering, my name today is Rada the Hutt's 19th ab because I stopped counting after 18. I'm kidding. I
Yeah.
didn't count at all. I'm not attracted to sluts.
I mean, there are many reasons why a person can count. You can be doing it out of curiosity.
That's
You can
true.
be doing it out of like comparative biology. Like
Maybe I'll count tomorrow.
you can care about abs for reasons that aren't thirst. Just want to acknowledge that. That being
You're
said,
right.
I am sure that the amount of Rada involved fanfics on AO3 is going to go up significantly in the next 72 hours
Yes.
because some of y'all are just, and you know what? You live your life.
People love a monster.
People love a monster. I think he qualifies as a true hear me out. And if he's your hear me out, God
I'll
bless
hear
and go
you.
with God bless,
Yeah.
not your kink is not my kink, but your kink is fucking weird. But I'll
Not
try
gonna
not
yuck
to
your
judge
yum.
your promise, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, what else? What else about this movie kind of tickled you or made you think in some way?
I need to look into Embo's dog a little bit because I think they changed him and that maybe annoyed me a tiny little bit. And I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, we texted with Alex a little bit. He didn't see it with us, but he saw it around the same time. And he said there was some small continuity issues. And I wonder if one of them is going to be what I'm thinking about. So we'll find out when we record together later this week or next week, whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hold on, I'm just looking up a bit about Enbo. I can't find anything. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, folks. It's 12:30 in the morning. I'm not able to do. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not doing that deep dive right now, but we absolutely will by the next Wednesday episode. I did think he was done well. I thought Garazeb was done fantastically. People know that he was my like. I really want to see him in this, but in something. But I'm also nervous about it, and I was kind of bummed he
Mhm.
wasn't in Ahsoka. And I think they really figured him out, and I really appreciated that. I think he was in Ahsoka for like half a second, or for half a scene. He was in something like that.
Zeb,
Uh,
I don't think maybe we heard his voice in Ahsoka, but I don't think we had seen him until this movie
I thought we
in
saw.
live
I
action.
thought we. Yeah, maybe. I thought we saw him in live action in something, but either way,
Oh,
uh,
oh, it was the last episode of the newest season of Mandalorian, right? When he's talking with that one New Republic
oh
guy
yeah,
and
yeah,
Zeb's in the
yeah,
background at the bar.
yeah. He's at the bar,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so him being part, and we saw Carson again, so that was kind of fun. I wish Garazeb had played a bigger part in this movie, and
Mhm.
I think in some ways that's part of what made it feel so episodic to me. Is it felt like there was the Rada episode, and then there was the Garazeb episode, and like neither Garazeb nor Rada was a through line throughout the movie. Um, Rada came in at the beginning and the end. Garazeb came in mostly at the beginning. It just that's part of what felt a little all over the place to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just looked up my little thing about Embo's dog and I was wrong, so it's okay.
Okay. SF Modeling again, like I said, folks, tune in. We try to have a pretty regular schedule. This is not a regular schedule, but I try to announce it. But SF Modeling writes, I was waiting for Rada to say the Godfather 3 line. Just when you think they're out, they pull you back in. I noticed a lot of references to mob movies. There definitely were. Someone noticed that the when the main kind of like assistant enforcer for Coin, who I think was an Icthorian, who had
I
like
think you're right.
the downward facing horns.
Yeah.
When he grabs like the machine gun laser gun and just starts spraying it, it definitely seemed. It was actually Beth, one of the people we saw the movie with.
Mhm.
She pointed out that felt like a Scarface reference. I definitely was digging some of the mob vibes, and it made me want to go back and play more Star Wars Underworld, because that's a really fun game. But yeah,
It's not Icthorian. I looked it up. You're thinking of Ithorian, and no, but we'll find out soon.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm sure there are many races with the horns facing down like that. That's just one of the
Many.
defining features that I know. So,
Yeah.
I thought there's a lot of great humor, especially with Grogu and the little guys. But
And
I
Zellens.
and Zellens, thank you. I had to tell you earlier, to you to tell me.
Yep.
There was just a lot of funny moments like that. I thought Grogu was charming as always, and it was fun to see him learn. Yeah, nothing bad. I didn't have a bad time. I wanted it to be a lot more. I felt
Yeah.
like there was I'm left feeling like I don't know why they made this a movie. And I think that's
Fun.
they sure. And if
People love Pedro.
Pedro on the big screen is always good. Is always good.
Yeah, for real. I did love that little scene after Mando gets kidnapped and Grogu's like, okay, it's go time. And he like straps his armor on and like throws some bombs in his bag. I was like, oh God, a toddler grabbing bombs. This is not going to go well.
Yeah, that, and then Mando got his like putting on all the armor in the Gunrunner ship moment. Which I'm going to say more with the Gunrunner ship when we have Alex there, because there was something I thought was going to happen that didn't happen. But and I remember you kind of laughed next to me. It had like this weird needle drop of like the badass action movie sound, but was kind of the Mandalorian theme, as Mando was like strapping on all the guns and finding the disintegration gun again and stuff like that. So,
I will say, loved the music in this film.
Yeah.
Beautifully done.
Yeah, they found a really interesting way to take that Mandalorian theme and put it into like 5 different musical genres.
Yeah, how to like mix it in and keep that vibe but still create new music. It's composers blow my mind. They always will. I don't understand how you can create new music that's never been heard before, but they do, and it's amazing. So
yeah,
shouts out.
So yeah, I know John Williams did not do this one. I think this might have been the first he did not do music
Ludwig? For. No.
Yeah, it's someone who's been involved with Star Wars before themselves. And
because he did The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Ludwig Um, Goranson?
Mhm.
Goranson? Goranson? Ludwig Göransson. Yeah, he did all the music for the Mandalorian TV show. And he's done also other really cool projects I think I've seen outside of Star Wars.
Mhm. Hold on, I'm just looking this up now. Yeah, so John Williams did all of the main movies, and the last one he did was Rise of Skywalker. But I think, did Solo come after Rise of Skywalker?
No. Came after
Okay.
Last Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
so this was then the first movie that John Williams did not do the score for.
yes. And Ludwig Göransson has done Sinners, Oppenheimer, Wakanda Forever, Creed 2, Venom, Black Panther. Very, very
Yeah.
talented composer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As you can tell, he loves working with Ryan Coogler, among other things, and he
Yeah.
did the music for Sinners is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's about all I have. We're going to talk a lot more in depth with Alex and get into a lot more of the deep dives. You can send us questions of what you think. Aaron, any last things you want to point out or quote or bring up?
Just my ending quote. So
Sounds good. Well, then I will just say thank you all so much for tuning in. I also did an episode of The Film Board, which is another one of the podcasts on the True Story Network, on the True Story FM family of podcasts. Please check that out. Please check out all the other things that are happening on the Superhero Ethics podcast. All the other great things. Please check out Aaron's cosplay and stuff like that. All those links are in the show notes. And most importantly, may the force be with you.
stay classy now, Hutta. Big pipe, eh?
Bad baby.
Bad baby.
As a parent, I want to get a little recording of that on my phone and just every now and then play it, at my little kid.
Hey, once Penn gets an iPhone and, years and years from now, you can make that the text tone. Whenever you text, bad baby.
Such a bad baby. Anyway, we're out. Peace.
Okay, bye.